I'm ready. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Isn't it great to have fall? So nice out there. Welcome. Quick couple updates. One is just a reminder that we do take a break after the presentations for about 5 minutes and then come back for Q&A. When we do that, we are asking for people to wait for the microphones to come to them so that we can get your question recorded, because we are live here, or we're not live, but we're taping, and we'll post. I hope, well, some of us are more live than others. One quick announcement, then I'm going to turn it over to Mark Griffith for a thank you to a great group that's been working in along Sea Pines for years now, but we'll wait on that. I wanted to get Victoria. Victoria, stand up, please. And we've been searching for revenue, as some of you may have noticed, and I want to just let everybody know that we are the recipient of a $500,000 grant for IT improvements for the community of Sea Pines. Victoria? Victoria found a grant, and we applied, and we're the winners. So thanks, Victoria, for those efforts, and get a couple more. With that, I'd like to introduce Mark Griffith. Come on, Mark.
Thanks, Brett. Would Karen Kinderman and Amber Kuhn come forward, please? They are both with Turtle Trackers. Amber is the Turtle Protection Manager, and I think they'll speak for a few minutes about what they've been up to. I know it's been a very tough season, but we absolutely appreciate what you do for our turtles. Thank you. Thank you. And that's going to get corrected. I think she wants a picture.
Oh, sure. All right, nobody told me there'd be a camera here. You guys know how I feel about cameras. So this story started in 1998. That's when I first started working with the Sea Turtle program here on Hilton Head. So next year will be my 20th season, which is hard for me to believe. I don't feel like I am that old, but apparently I am. A couple of years ago, I was on the beach doing my thing with sea turtles. We start at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we do 14 miles of beach looking for sea turtles. Back in 2000, we were excited if we broke 100 nests. I mean, it was like a big year for Hilton Head. Last year, we had 411 nests on Hilton Head Beach. So the turtles that were saved in 1985 are coming back, and they'll just continue to get bigger and bigger in that population. But a lady came up to me who had just moved here to Sea Pines, and she started asking questions. I was like, gosh, that's a lot of questions. So I just stopped right there and just started giving a whole sea turtle talk to the beach, and then there was a crowd there, and then it just went from there. And my partner was like, Amber, we have 10 more miles to go. We have to go right now. So later, I kept running into her, and finally she said, do you need any help? And I'm like, oh, here's another volunteer, As soon as volunteers ask me if they can help and find out that they can't play with the sea turtle hatchlings, they're like, okay, sorry, we don't have time for you. But this person said, we would like to distribute educational information. We would like to promote you and support you in what you do. What can we do to help you? And I was like, really? Okay, let's see how long this lasts. So we had a meeting. The group was called Turtle Trackers. Karen Kinderman, of course, is the lady who started that thing. And it is 2 years now, and they are still supporting me, not just with educational information, but if any of you went to the TED Talk thing recently, the TEDx talks that were on Hilton Head this year, I was the first speaker, and when they asked me to do it, I was like, sure, that'll be cool. Well, if you've ever seen a TED Talk, it's very regimented. It's not fly by the seat of your pants, and it has to be a certain time frame. And I also, at the same time, told the town of Hilton Head that I would stay up all night, every night, 7 nights a week, for 3 months, night patrol for this beach renourishment, emergency beach renourishment that we have been doing. So trying to do both of those at the same time and just offhandedly said, hey guys, if you guys all live in Sea Pines, I'll be camped out in the Tower Beach parking lot. By the way, if I look like I just rolled out of a camper, it's because I did. Thank you, Toby McSwain, for your patience with my camper in your parking lot and my ATV and the security patrols. I've gotten to know the security guards and the back gate guards like my grandfather, and he's asking me all the time how I'm doing. I'll miss him. And I said, you guys, if you have any leftovers, I'm up all night long, and I get hungry in the middle of the night. It helps me stay up. If you have any, just drop them by the Amber Lance. If you haven't seen it, it's not a camper. It's an Amber Lance. It's an ambulance. And so they started cooking meals, obviously, for me. They were not leftovers. And every night I had this full-on gourmet meal delivered to the Amber Lance by Turtle Trackers. So I think I would have been sick right now if it wasn't for that, because, you get stress, lack of nutrition, you start to get depleted. But I did not.
Tired, not sick.
Tired, and sorry if I'm all over the board, because it's been, last night at midnight was my done. Last year was a record year for sea turtle nesting, the most we've ever had, the 411. Matthew came at the end of the season and took out 2 of those nests, the last 2 that were on the beach, which is spectacular in my book. But we did not expect to have another one, but this time right in the middle of the hatching season. So we lost 54 nests this year to Irma. We were also right in the middle of this renourishment. Thank goodness the town had the foresight to start an emergency beach renourishment, because we were a third of the way done when that storm came. But it did help what they had done just a little bit. And now they're extending the contract past the Sea Pines Beach Club and up into Alder Lane, if you know where that is. So we got a pretty big hit from Irma. Our season was not going the greatest to begin with because of the deluge of water that we were getting from rains. The beach cannot percolate that fast. So when you have a heavy downpour, it starts to collect standing water. And of course, the eggs can't survive if you have standing water. So it was a rough season all the way around. I have support from this group of women in Sea Pines that has just been amazing. I would not have been able to do it without them, and the support of the community, and I really appreciate this recognition. I feel like I have pushed myself. You know that saying, bite off more than you can chew? You can hear it in my voice right now. I bit off way more than I could chew, and I thought I was Superwoman, but I found out I'm not. I found my limits. We also did something you might see around Sea Pines that looks like this. The Turtle Trackers decided to get together and try to get everybody on the same page. There are 42 of these in Sea Pines. Thank you, CSA. Thank you, Turtle Trackers, for doing that. Did you know that you had to fill your holes? Use a red light. Lights off 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Close your window shades. Leave them undisturbed. 10 people did not know that you had to leave a sea turtle nest undisturbed this season. They did their own inventory of the nest, which is not good. We also want to thank Bob Gossett at another part of Sea Pines. He owns the Salty Dog T-shirt company. Do you see this? Okay. This sea turtle has sunglasses on, and he says lights out on the beach 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. May through October, to remind you guys that are living beachfront that we lost 32 nests to beachfront lighting ordinance violation this year. That's 32 times 100 hatchlings. Almost 4,000 hatchlings went to the dune instead of the ocean. We can fix that. So just awareness, please. Just pass the word on. Really appreciate it. All of this is volunteer, all of it. And I run a business on the side during the day.
Thank you so very much. This has been a very rewarding and fulfilling project, as you might imagine. May I please ask all the Turtle Trackers that are present to please stand up? Step forward. Gina, not in the corner. We started with 10, in the living room of Mary Ryan in April of 2015, and we grew to 97. So we've had a lot of support, and as I said, it's been very fulfilling. So thank you for the recognition. That's very special. And thank you, CSA, for those signs. They not only participated in some of the costs, they also hung them, or installed them, I should say, at the beach walks. You'll see them in a Tower Beach. So there you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. We certainly appreciate what the Turtle Trackers has done for Sea Pines for Turtles, and to Amber's difficult and tough work. Thank you for hanging in there for us. We appreciate it. So we're going to move now to Toby McSwain. Toby McSwain is our Director of Safety, Security, and Transportation, and so, Toby will give us some safety and security updates. Toby?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations, Amber. The volunteers, you guys do an amazing job with this turtle program, and the security staff, we're really happy to be a part of that. And if you did, the property owners who called about the vehicles parked in the beach, it was Amber's vehicles that we allowed because, you know, they're obviously very busy, so they didn't take up much space. But it's a great program, and congratulations to you guys. Just a couple of quick updates. First and foremost, and I almost have to say this because I don't want to jinx myself, but right now we're at a 4-year low for our property crime in Sea Pines, which is a really, really good thing. Thank you. Our no burglaries, we haven't had a rash of car break-ins, things have been running really good. Please, you know, as always, keep your door locked. When you pull your car in the driveway, it stays locked. Report the suspicious activities, which we've had a lot of that, which is good, which is a lot of the, I think, some of the reasons why we have the statistics that we're having today. So that's all good, and I'm hoping that it really stays that way. But problem-wise, we're not having any major issues currently. There's one thing that I'll touch on in just a bit. It's wildlife. Right now, it's the deer mating season. If you're not a deer hunter, know that. We have the deer running all over the place right now, so be cautious. The activity in the Forest Preserve, I know that it seems to me that there's a lot more deer in the club course area because that work, they're kind of running things out, so be careful with that. If you have an animal problem, and I brought some numbers, well, I think we've removed almost 200 raccoons this year so far. We will trap animals for you. So if you're having a nuisance animal coming into your garbage cans or whatever the case may be, give us a call. We have traps. We can take care of that. We have our own equipment. Now, you can't trap something and then call us to deal with it. So if you want CSA to be a part of it, we have a protocol that we go by, how we handle the animals, the traps, and so forth. So if you want our services, it doesn't cost you anything. We file these reports with DNR to let them know what's being removed. It's normally raccoons, the alligators, obviously, the possums, not too many possums. The armadillos are making a comeback. They're digging underneath the foundations. So if you have an issue, give us a call. And when I mean an issue, I mean something going in, burying under your foundation, getting in your trash. If a raccoon gets on your back deck one time, that's not really a nuisance. We don't want to go trap that animal because it's just, you live in a forest. So they're just moving around. So if it is a nuisance, we'll take care of it. If you have an issue, report that timely. You know, if some of you are now having short-term rental properties next door to you, and you may have lived here for 20 years, and now next door they're swimming in the swimming pool at midnight. If you have an issue going on in and around, call us and let us respond and hopefully take care of it. Don't call me a week later when the renters have gone complaining about the loud music, you know, because there's not really anything I can do a week later. So if you've got an issue, call us, let us respond, and we'll do what we can to take care of that. If you're leaving Sea Pines, whether you're walking out the gates, the leisure pass, or you're riding your bike out, please bring your ID or your property owner ID card. Don't get upset with the gate staff when they ask you who you are. There's 6,000 homes in here. We don't know who all the property owners are. So don't get upset if they ask you, where do you live at? Because that's what we do. We just don't let people in that doesn't live in Sea Pines. So bring your ID. If you're going out for a bike ride and you're leaving the property, come back in, because they're going to ask you for your driver's license so we can look to see that you actually are a property owner here in Sea Pines. Upcoming parties, if you're having a function at your property and you're going to have 12 or more people and you want a gate clearance, please give us at least a 24-hour notice that you're having a party, so that if you want a gate clearance where your outside visitors can come to the gate and say, I'm going to, to the Martin party, we'll let them in. We'll put a gate clearance in and we'll let them in. Please don't call us an hour beforehand that you need 25 of your closest friends are coming to your Halloween party. So just please give us a notice on that. Moving trucks, sod delivery, furniture delivery. If you live on a tight street and you're having furniture delivered, or sod, or you're having cement work done or whatever, and you've got a large truck, give us a notice or have your contractor notify us that you have a large vehicle so that we can help them get to this location and get out. Because what we're having, we've got some in Mania, it seems like it's been in the club course area, where some cement truck is there to do a work and goes down and does a turnaround in someone else's driveway, and guess what's happened? We've crushed the driveway. So give us the call. We will help the contractor and get these people moved in and around where they need to go. Speeding. I put a little notice out that we emailed out to all the property owners. That's right now seems to be the biggest complaint that I receive from the owners more often than anything else, is the speeding in the community. There are several things that we do. We put the message boards up that tells you what your speed limit is, and then we normally go down a quarter of a mile down the road and we run traffic. There's two options. You either get a warning ticket saying, all right, you've been warned, or we actually write you a state ticket. If you're doing 25 miles an hour above the posted speed limit, you're probably going to court. That's what we do. Tickets are expensive, but your insurance bill that comes later is going to be a little bit more. So what I'm asking you is just please slow down. We're enforcing traffic. That's the only mechanism we have, other than putting those radar signs up, to tell you what your speed is, other than pulling you over. And we're not riding people 2 and 3 miles over the posted speed limit. That's not what we're doing. Some of the cases on Greenwood Drive, they're 30 miles an hour above the posted speed limit. It's an expensive ticket. I'm telling you now, I'm giving you forewarning. It's an expensive ticket if you're 30 miles an hour above the posted speed limit. It's the same as reckless driving. You lose half of your points. South Carolina, you have 12 points. 30 miles an hour more, you just lost 6 points of your driving record. So please, help us out. Slow down. There's workers, there's kids. Speed when you get outside the gate. I'm just kidding. ABDI, the CSA board has approved the purchase of the ABDI program. And for you that don't know this, it's a new software that CSA is purchasing. It's going to run the security department and the front office for CSA. It's also several things that's going to take place. We're going to either have an embedded decal, a wristband, a key fob, something that's also going to operate the Tower Beach gate arm. We have not made the purchase of the ABDI software. It's been approved. All of our current data, all 6,000 properties, everything that we have has to go to the company and be uploaded into the new system. This process is probably going to take a better part of next year to incorporate. Tower Beach, we're probably going to continue to man Tower Beach. The gate arm is fixed. It's ready to go. The software is installed. However, I have to give you something to operate the arm. We don't know what that something is yet, whether it's going to be the decal in your car, or we're going to embed your property owner ID card where you just hold it up and it opens the arm up for you. Chances are it's probably going to be the ID card, because that way, if you're an owner, you come in, you don't have a vehicle here, you can just take your car, your rental car, and you can get into Tower Beach using your ID card. So that's the direction that we're going in. So when we bring you back in, we really want to make it a one-stop shop where we give you new decals for your car and a new ID card. And I don't want to bring you in now to give you something getting to Tower Beach, and then 6 months later I bring you back in to put decals on your car. So we're going to ride the current decals the next calendar year, and then we're going to put ABDI into effect. During this time frame, you'll have an app You'll see the property owner a brand new app, so you don't have to pick the phone up and call Bruce no more to call in your guest passes. You can go right to your app and Toby McSwain, there it is, and it shows up at both gates, and it sends a text message to your guest. And when your guest comes through the gate, it sends you an alert saying, Toby's come through the gate. So it's great. It's good. I think you're going to really enjoy it, but give us some time. We're not done. It's not going to be an overnight system that gets installed. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toby. We appreciate those updates. We'll now hear from David Henderson, Director of Special Projects and Operations for Community Services Associates. David.
Thank you, Amanda, and good morning. Wanted to start with some updates related to arguably our community's greatest asset, our beach. As many of you may be aware, the town's renourishment project is progressing. It is currently in the general area of the Sea Pines Beach Club. The project was originally necessitated by Hurricane Matthew, and that work began in late August or early September. And that original design, again, this was post-Matthew, pre-Irma, the scope was from Tower Beach to roughly East Beach Lagoon. So as a result of Hurricane Matthew, that project area was expanded and is now slated to go as far as Duck Hawk Road. And spoke with Scott Leggett, the town's engineer, this morning, and they are anticipating that that work will be completed by mid-November. Wanted to speak about boardwalks. As a result of Hurricane Matthew, the Sea Pines Forest Preserve Foundation, which is owner of the Beach Trust property, which is this strand here, had put a moratorium in place so that no new boardwalks could be constructed. At that time, authorization was given to make emergency repairs only, and the majority of people have abided by that. And then the moratorium was still in place when Irma came through. And it was a good thing that it was, because in many cases, if those boardwalks had been replaced, Irma would have gotten them. And they're not cheap. So as a result of an evaluation that's been done after the beach, we have decided and are announcing today, and we'll communicate out to the oceanfront owners, that for a very limited section of the beach in Sea Pines, that moratorium is being lifted. And it's being lifted because even post-Irma, there is still an intact dune system there. The moratorium will remain until further notice for all other areas of Sea Pines, whether it has been renourished or is not being renourished. And simply stated, the reason why is that boardwalks are there to protect the dunes. They are designed to get the foot traffic off so that the vegetation can grow. That vegetation helps your sand build up or accrete, and gives you the greatest protection possible if you have an event like we've had. So if we were to allow boardwalks to go back in other areas of Sea Pines where there is currently not a stabilized intact dune system, that boardwalk could very likely, as sands continue to shift, not actually protect the dune over time, but could potentially actually design a breach or a flaw into the dunes. So we still have some time before we're ready to go forward. But to let you know where this is, it's Cedar Waxwing. This is beach marker 18. So it is everything to the west, most people say to the south, from there. And this photograph is post-Matthew but pre-Irma. It was from February, I believe, of this year. And so the Irma changed things a little bit, but you can see generally what we're talking about and why we've opened it up where we have. Again, we're referring to the Beach Trust. And even though this is pre-Irma, this area is still in decent shape after Irma. And again, keep in mind this was post-Matthew, and you can see starting about right here, and definitely right here, there are no dunes. There are no dunes. Now the renourishment is fixing that, but they're just placing sand in the system. There isn't a dune there, but the dune will be forming. So I wanted to announce that. Another important issue I wanted to make everyone aware of, especially oceanfront owners, because timing is getting really short and there's a lot of things that are going on. OCRM, which is the Office of Coastal Resource Management, is mandated to set jurisdictional lines. And they go through this process every 7 to 10 years, and we are currently in an active process right now. And these lines are important because it establishes where they have jurisdiction. And so there is a baseline, and then they do a setback off of the baseline, and they have a methodology that they use to do that. But when these lines change, there can be impacts to those oceanfront owners. They've had a series of public meetings or hearings. Brett Martin and myself, as well as several other Sea Pines owners, did attend the one in Beaufort on October 23rd. We are currently ending their 30-day, nearing ending the 30-day public comment period, which is on November 6th. And this year is especially important because by legislation, once they establish the baseline, which is the line that the setback is then off of, it can no longer move seaward. So when that line, if it's adopted and established on December 31st of this year, at no point in the future can it then move seaward. So it is an especially important year through this process. ASPO is having a special board meeting at 1 o'clock today in this room to discuss this issue, and there will be more information forthcoming. We also have a handout if any of you are interested. We have a limited quantity, but this is a printing after the meeting, please see me, that OCRM has put out that gives a quick explanation as to the process that they're going through. And the OCRM website is a really good resource as well. You can go, it's about an 8-minute YouTube video, and it goes through their process to give you a little bit better understanding of what you can and can't do within these zones. And they also have the ability to go in and look at existing lines and proposed lines. And this is just a screenshot of an area in Sea Pines, and it may be difficult for you to see with the legend, but I just wanted to show you that the current baseline is shown in red in this particular area here. This is the current setback line. And then in this area, you can see that both of those lines are proposed to move landward. So you can see the proposed baseline is now dashed green, okay? And the proposed setback is dashed purple. So there are some areas in Sea Pines where these lines have actually moved seaward in just a few areas. In some areas, they are close to where they were before. And in other areas, they have moved landward, and in some cases, significantly landward. All right, I want to switch gears, go to the Forest Preserve, let you know of our upcoming event, the Bonfire. It is a week from Friday, so that is November 10th. We still have tickets available. This is our signature event. If you have not been to it before, I would highly encourage you to consider it. Tickets are $75 per person, or a reserved table for 8 is $750. And yes, we can do math. The $150 premium that you pay is because that table is reserved in your party's name. And it actually came about from request of attendees at previous events. The other seating is open, and we'll have hundreds of people there, and people like to sit with their friends and their neighbors. And so it was a request, hey, I'm willing to pay a little bit more if you can reserve me a table so I don't have to go through the stress and the trouble of playing the turn the chairs up game, and then, like a rodeo clown, keeping everybody from, taking seats that you want somebody else to sit in. So we can do math. I just wanted you to know that was an option. You can go online if you want to pay with a credit card, seapinesbonfire.org. We are passing along the convenience fees that we are charged by the event site. It's roughly $5 per $75 ticket. If you would choose not to do that but still want a ticket, you can come by CSA and pay with cash or check. Also wanted to mention that our annual solicitation letter has been mailed. You should have received it. If you have not received it, we will be following up here soon with an email that will go out to everyone. And the Forest Preserve Foundation relies almost entirely on the generosity of owners and of specifically Sea Pines owners. And so we do ask that you do give it some consideration when you receive that. If you are able to give $75 or more, we will mail you a copy of our 2018 calendar, which is really nice, thanks to Jim Smith, who donates all the photography every year for the calendar. And we've had, it's been a tough year. Matthew, of course, as you all know, was a tree fall event. We had thousands of trees in the Forest Preserve alone that came down. And I mean, we removed hundreds of trees that were over roads and paths. And then Irma was thankfully not a tree fall event, but was more rain related. But between the two, we've had some pretty significant impacts, and we're having to do some pretty significant work where we can to try to get back on track and to get this stage set for future generations, which is the legacy of the Forest Preserve from my perspective. I'll end with Wreaths Across America. This is an event, if you're not aware, that is been held for some years now in Six Oaks Cemetery. We do. First, let's talk about the cemetery briefly. We are Hilton Head's only public perpetual care cemetery on the island, and there are a variety of options. John Hunter is the manager of the cemetery, but this is an event in which we cooperate with Wreaths Across America, in which you have the ability to sponsor a wreath for $15, and if you purchase 2 wreaths, then they'll donate 1 for free. And there is a ceremony Saturday, December 16th at noon at Six Oaks Cemetery. It is open to the public, but encourage you to come. There is a brief ceremony, and then all the participants and attendees are there and able to place wreaths on every veteran's grave in the cemetery. And it's a really neat community event, and encourage you to come out and participate if you can do so. And if you can't, to consider making a contribution. Your checks will be made payable to Wreaths Across America, but you can get it to us and to John Hunter at CSA, and then we'll package all that up and send it off to Wreaths. All right, that's all I had. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We will now hear from Russell Fredericks, our Director of Maintenance. Russell, if you'd come to the podium, please.
Thank you, Amanda. Good morning, everybody. I, for one, could surely say I'm really happy to have this cool weather here finally from the Northeast after a really hot and long summer. So we've had quite a few projects going on throughout the summer into the fall. One of our most important projects out here that we've been working on is the resurfacing of Plantation Drive from Greenwood Drive to Lighthouse Road. There's been some questions about the striping. The permanent striping and raised roadway markings are going to be installed next week on the roadways, as well as other additional markings on Live Oak and Magnolia Crescent. So that work will be completed, like I said, sometime next week. And I hope those roadways are much improved out there, and I hope everyone had a chance to see that. So regarding some leisure trail projects, we just completed a leisure trail enhancement on Lawton Drive, and that was just completed last week. And the Monarch Leisure Trail is another project that we'll be taking on this November and completing in the next couple of weeks. Beach walks, boardwalks. David spoke about this in depth, so I'm not going to go into some of those same details. But David referenced all the impact from the storms and so forth. So we have 2 projects planned down at Beach Walk 11 and Beach Walk 12, and you can see here on these maps to extend these boardwalks out a couple hundred feet or more. And this is to provide access across the beach. And through the years, there's much more sand, as David had mentioned, had accumulated in those areas. Again, we plan to execute this work in the coming weeks and complete by the end of the season. We have some other repair work scheduled on Boardwalk 42A as well. There's some other minor repairs that we did post Irma. But as David mentioned, the current moratorium that's in place, we're holding off any major repairs on the other boardwalks. Beach lagoon dredging, I mentioned this sometime back in a previous coffee, but we have a lagoon dredging that will be executed on 2 of the major lagoons in the Beach Lagoon neighborhood towards the end of November going into December. So we're still working through some of the logistics with our contractor down there to execute that project. These are some photos that I took of some dredging over in Palmetto Dunes from early in the season. So this really kind of gave us an opportunity to see what we were challenged with, and we were able to work with the contractor to lay out our plans for our dredging project. So this gave us some real insights, and again, this work will be forthcoming. And you could see here, and this is a dredge that's kind of pretty small in nature compared to some other dredges that you would see typically performing dredge work, and this should have a minimum impact on the lagoon. There's no, we won't be draining the water down or anything like that. This dredge actually pumps the sediment into the sediment bags that will be located on the lagoon banks adjacent to Beach Lagoon. Some other recent work that we've done, and just received a few emails about this, about the improvement of the Sea Pine Circle. We just removed some of the existing plant material that was around the flag, and did some resodding. So again, a much improved look of the Sea Pine Circle. Other landscaping work that we've been taking on, removing some landscaping at the Ocean and Greenwood gates. Some of the landscaping is past its prime, if you will. So we're removing that, and we'll be installing new landscaping probably somewhere in the beginning of the new year. But again, removing some of this landscaping that's in decline. Other maintenance that we're working on, mosquito spraying is really an on as-needed basis right now. Heard it's supposed to warm back up towards the end of the week, but we really feel that we're over the hump with the mosquito season. We've been working on replacing a lot of signs throughout the community as well. We did see some signs being damaged during Irma, so we've been working on that, as well as spraying the lagoons and the vegetation that growing along the lagoon banks. We actually are still seeing some issues with some algae out there as well due to all the warm weather that we've had, and we're continuing to treat that. And then our flower display, as everyone saw this in the last couple of days, we removed those displays, and the new displays are going in. So thank you to everyone that came by our maintenance facility to pick up the flowers. There's still a lot there if anyone wants to stop by and pick those up. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Russell. My name is Amanda Sutcliffe-Jones. I am the CSA Director of Communications. Thank you guys for coming out this morning. I will cover my agenda items, and we will start with just some additional information that I want to make sure you guys are aware of. We are planning an upcoming community survey. That survey will be launched later this year. We are working to gather the community's feedback on a number of different topics, so that is something that I'm working quite diligently on, so we can make sure we have that information to give to our committees and then also to our board, so they can review that feedback given to us by the community. The survey will come out via email, so if you do not have an email address on file with us, we ask that you contact CSA either by phone, which is listed here, 671-1343, or you can email us at info@csacpines.com so we can update your information, and that way we can make sure you get a copy of that survey. Holiday office hours, Thanksgiving is coming up, Christmas as well as New Year's, so we have our holiday office hours listed there. I won't go over them, but they are listed on the screen. We will also separately send these out to you guys via email, so you'll know when our office hours will be, and this information will also appear. It appeared in our last newsletter, and then it will appear again in the upcoming newsletter, which will cut in December. David's already covered the information related to the bonfire, but I encourage you to attend. It's a really, really fun event, and tickets can be purchased at seapinesbonfire.org. Our next community coffee will be December 6th. It will be at 9 a.m. at the Sea Pines Community Center. And no, I am not smuggling a pumpkin. This is a baby. I will not be able to attend that meeting because I will be on maternity leave. So my maternity leave starts November 29th, towards the end of the month, and I will be returning to you guys towards the end of February. So I look forward to returning to Sea Pines once I have my second child, who is a boy, or who will be a boy. And I leave you in the quite capable hands of our staff staff, and then Jean McElroy as well as our communications coordinator. So looking forward to coming back to you guys. Elections. We officially, today is the day. It's November 1st. So our election ballots will be mailed out later this afternoon for our CSA and ASPO Board of Directors elections. You can see here, this is our CSA list for the CSA folks who are running for the board. This is our ASPO list for the folks who are running for the ASPO Board of Directors. So, a couple different items to cover. Again, your ballots will be mailed out today. For CSA, your ballots are sent based on your property ownership. So if you own more than one property in Sea Pines, you get one ballot per property owned. It's going to be yellow. It's going to look just like this. It will have your account number on the bottom of it. Your account number may differ. It actually does differ for different properties. So just be cognizant that if you own multiple properties, you need to, or if you'd like to, you vote for your desired candidates for each of those properties. And if you only own one property in Sea Pines, you would only get one of these CSA ballots. But again, it is based on your property ownership for CSA. For ASPO, ASPO is a voluntary organization, the Association of Sea Pines Plantation Property Owners. Because it's voluntary, you pay a membership fee to be a member, and you only receive one ballot, regardless of how many houses you own in Sea Pines. It's just one ballot for ASPO. It's a white ballot, and you'll see, similarly to CSA, all of your candidates are listed here. For both the CSA and the ASPO ballot, you vote for 3 candidates. You can vote for less if you want to, but if you vote for more than 3, your ballot is void. So keep in mind 3 max. Anything over 3 would not be counted. Again, your account number for your property is printed on the bottom of the ballot, so you don't have to do anything differently or call to get your account number. It's already on there for you. Elliott Davis DeCasimo, CPA, validates our election. In each of your ballot packages, you will receive a blue envelope. This blue envelope goes to Elliott Davis DeCasimo. They're actually based in Charleston, South Carolina, and these are the envelopes that get it to Elliott Davis. So keep that in mind, that it doesn't come back to CSA because we don't validate the election. It goes to Elliott Davis DeCasimo so they can handle validating the entire process for us. If elected, the Much better. If elected, the candidates will serve a 3-year term beginning on January 1, 2018, and they will serve their term through December 31st, 2020. And again, ballots must be returned by December 1st, 2017, and that information is also available on our website, and I'll show you the next slide because it will have that website listed. So learn more about your candidates. We really want to make sure you guys are educated on the candidates, which boards they're running for, and who they are. The Meet the Candidates brochure is a brochure that is available on our website. It covers the candidate biographies as well as why the candidate wishes to serve the community. It will also be included in your ballot itself, so you'll get a printed copy of that brochure. Candidate biographies as well are listed on our website. You can view the Meet the Candidates meeting video. So that meeting happened last week on the 25th. I encourage you guys to take a look at it. It's available on our website right now at seapinesliving.com. We sent out a mass email earlier in the week with a link to that video, and we will send it out again so you guys can have access to it. Another really great piece of information, the community, we collected questions from the nominating committee collected questions from the community, and 61 questions were asked to be asked of the candidates. That's a lot of questions, and the candidates, all 11 of them, did a great job to answer those questions. The answers to those questions from the community are also posted on our website, so I highly encourage you guys to use these resources, find out about your candidates, learn more about them, and your ballot will be in the mail so you can make your vote. Another piece of information, contact information for the candidates has also been posted under their profiles. So that may be a number of different things. Maybe it's their email address, their phone number, their address, whatever information they were able or provided to us, we did post on the website. So that is listed on our website as well. And the Best way to get to all of this, seapinesliving.com/elections. So that's the easiest way. Otherwise, you can go through our homepage, property owners, and then board of directors elections. So again, a lot of information right now. Your ballots will be mailed this afternoon. If you guys have any questions about the ballots, you're more than welcome to contact us. They are due back on December 1st, or by December 1st, which is a Friday. And just one more piece of information. Our mailing list for the ballots was pulled on October 23rd. And we had to do that because we processed over 6,000 ballots, so we had to pull it last week so we could get that mailing project completed. If for some reason you've had a change of address in that time frame, you have to let us know because your ballot would have been going to your previous address. So that's really important. You can contact CSA. 671-1343 is our office number. info@csacpines.com is an email that would come to me. But if you did not notice us that your address had changed, we would have put it, or sent it, to the address that we previously had on record. So that's really important just to consider. Since they're going out today, folks in Hilton Head area should be seeing them by Saturday, Sunday timeframe. Anybody else that's outside of the country, or if you're in a different state by chance, you most likely will see them Monday, Tuesday timeframe. If you do not get it, if you don't get your ballot by, I would say, the 8th of November, you need to contact CSA so we can make sure we have the correct address on file for you. So quite important, and we're looking forward to getting those results. Again, voting closes on December 1st, and we'll be communicating the results of the election following that close date for us. So I will pass it over now to Michael Tucker. Michael Tucker is the CSA Vice Chairman and as well as the Chairman of the Long Range Strategic Planning Committee. Michael.
Thank you, Amanda. Good morning. I am not going to do justice like Amber did. For those of you interested in displaying your Sea Pines pride, CSA has a limited number of these shirts and sizes. Please contact David Henderson if you are so inclined. The Long Range Strategic Plan in February of 2015 adopted one of the initiatives and said the following: to initiate a community-wide partnership aimed at perpetuating Sea Pines Plantation as a world-class resort and residential destination. It was a little over 2.5 years ago in this room, 22 very influential and important individuals met to decide whether or not we should be creating a marketing plan for the betterment of the community. I'll never forget the words of Mark King, who's president of the club group who manages Sea Pines Center. Mark looked around the room and he said, in over 20 years of service to the Sea Pines community, I have never been in a meeting with so many influential people of our community. Some of you joining us here today were in that meeting, and you know what it was all about. You were there because you were the president, or you were the owner, or you were the top dog, if you will, of the following amenities. Yep, that's you. Charlie Miner, president of the Association of Sea Pines Property Owners, ASPO, and 2 independent residents at the time, Barry Barth and Bill Johnson. Sea Pines Forest Preserve, Ted Allenbach. Hilton Head Prep School. I think I saw John Hopman coming in today somewhere. I think there's John back there. Lawton Stables, D.D. Summers, Salty Dog in South Beach, Bob Gossett. Sea Pines Country Club at the time was Greg Clark. Sea Pines Montessori Academy with Principal Melinda Cotter. Sea Pines Resort, Steve Birdwell. Shops at Sea Pines Center was Mark King. South Beach Racket Club with Don Sigmund. Harbortown Merchants Representative Rob Bender. Heritage Farm, Dennis Miller. Real estate agencies, we had Chip Collins, we had the late Andy Klepchuk, and we had Linda Frank from Sea Pines Real Estate. We had Brett Martin, and we had Mark Griffith. Bottom line, folks, it doesn't get any better than that group as far as influence into our community. Everyone on that list made a positive suggestion. Everyone on that list felt a need to financially contribute to the creation of one of our elements. The group brought together because the long-range strategic plan, but the results of their efforts were theirs. They were not CSA's. Going forward, we anticipate this group will elect their own leadership and offer suggestion to all the partners involved as to the next steps needed for enhancing Sea Pines, the community. Any property owner wishing to serve on this task force should send a request to Amanda, and they'll be distributed once the new leadership is formed for this marketing group. At our first meeting, we discussed collectively, as a whole, do we need to have one? And unanimously, the answer was yes. And out of that came a marketing plan voted on unanimously by all of the above-mentioned entities. And this effort was and remains an example of what we can do collectively and collaboratively when we work together. A critical element of that meeting was the creation of Celebrate Sea Pines, a video paid for by all the participants, which could be easily distributed to all of our partners and all of our 5,000 plus property owners. So once we shot the video in late 2015, in early and mid 2016, we reviewed it 9 times and made changes. We plan to release it in the fall of September, or in the fall of 2016. Anybody remember somebody named Matthew? Then in the summer of 2017, we got involved with a resort referendum, taking up an awful lot of time, and a lady named Irma came looking for her boyfriend, Matthew, at that same time. So for those of you who've been asking when, I'm here to tell you the time is now. Now because everyone has been so patient. Now because our community seems divided on individual issues and positions, and we've all lost sight of the bigger picture called Sea Pines. Now because we think this video will pull people together at a time when we see more separation than we desire. Now because we need to be reminding everyone of what we share, what we enjoy, and where we live in a wonderful community we call home. Now because we think the video helps us all to re-energize our Sea Pines pride. Now each and every one of you will have a tool to show your friends in Ohio and Pittsburgh and New Jersey why you moved to Sea Pines. But just so you know, we're aware that since the video was shot in 2015, some things have changed. But we're confident that you will be able to verbalize these changes as you see fit and as you tell your friends about it. And at a later date, we will reconsider a redo of the video when it is more appropriate to do so. When the video is completed, Amanda will explain how this video will be distributed and how you can help. She will also remind you these shirts are available. But for now, sit back, relax, and join us in watching today's feature presentation entitled Celebrate Sea Pines.
The first time we came to Sea Pines on Hilton Head Island, we knew we had found a special place, a place unlike any other. Driving over the bridge, coming onto the island, passing through the gated entrance just gives you this sense of peace, knowing we've arrived. And this is our life at Sea Pines. Like many others, our first time to Sea Pines was to vacation, to slow down, take a break from our daily lives, enjoy nature, take a bike ride, watch a sunrise on the beach.
What we realized, though, is that we could call this home, make a life here, and enjoy this way of life every day. And that's exactly what we did.
We fell in love with the master plan vision developed by Charles Frazier, the very first of its kind. that embraces the natural beauty of South Carolina's incredible lowcountry. Sea Pines Country Club is Sea Pines' private members-only club with a very active membership proud of its championship golf course, Hartrue tennis courts, and expansive pool facilities overlooking the marsh. With numerous club events throughout the year and constant social outings, members are more like family sharing in one another's low-country hospitality.
The shops at Sea Pine Center, with one-of-a-kind boutique retailers, local art galleries, spa, fitness center, post office, and a weekly farmers market, is a destination for island visitors and residents alike. Alongside numerous restaurants, Truffles Cafe is a local's favorite to grab a glass of wine with friends and enjoy a great meal. Add a convenience store and a gas station, and you have it all at the shops at Sea Pine Center.
At the end of the island, South Beach Marina has so much to offer. From kayaking to ice cream for the kids, daily live music at the Salty Dog, and sunset cruises, being on the water, watching a sunset over the Calabogie Sound, it is simply spectacular. Just next door to the marina is South Beach Racquet Club, a fantastic tennis facility with 16 courts, a full-service pro shop, and an experienced teaching professional staff. Come reserve a court to play a match with friends, take a lesson with one of the pros, or rent a bike to cruise the miles of paved paths at Sea Pines. With over 60 miles of paved roadways and more than 17 miles of leisure trails throughout Sea Pines, biking and exploring the low country's century-old oak trees, peaceful marsh views, and miles of beaches is just a way of life here.
Tower Beach is an exclusive residential property owner-only facility offering direct beach access, an impressive covered pavilion, restrooms, beach showers, picnic areas, and parking. Perhaps one of the community's unknown but most appealing features is the fantastic opportunity to raise a family here. The Sea Pines Montessori Academy, founded in 1968 by Mary Fraser, wife of Sea Pines founder Charles Fraser, teaches pre-kindergarten to middle school-aged students independence, social awareness, and creativity through the proven Montessori method of education. Another educational option is Hilton Head Preparatory School, offering a college preparatory curriculum for over 50 years to students ages preschool through 12th grade. With a diverse student body of more than 400 students, Hilton Head Preparatory School continues to educate and prepare students to attend some of the nation's top universities each year.
There are so many home options at Sea Pines, from beautiful golf view homes to efficient studio villas to water view condos to spectacular oceanfront estates. There is truly an option for everyone to make a life here at Sea Pines. The Forest Preserve is the largest tract of undeveloped land on Hilton Head Island and offers incredible opportunities to enjoy wildlife in its natural setting. Alligator boat tours, bass fishing, or just enjoying a nature walk. The Forest Preserve's 600 acres is a dream playground, both kids and adults alike.
The natural beauty Sea Pines possesses is undoubtedly one of our greatest treasures and is something property owners deeply cherish. We take great pride in protecting and preserving this beauty to pass on to the next generation. Lawton Stables, our very own equestrian facility, is indeed just another reason we love living in Sea Pines. Each week, the Wish Upon a Horse program at Lawton Stables provides therapeutic riding experiences for special needs children and adults. Their International Riding Academy offers a full-time boarding program for junior riders to develop their skills while competing on the circuit. Kids just love spending the day at Lawton Stables, feeding the animals, taking a horseback trail ride through the Forest Preserve. It's pretty incredible.
And of course, you have the Sea Pines Resort, seamlessly intertwined throughout the community, with convenient drop-off transportation provided by the signature red trolleys. With a multi-million-dollar campaign of renovations and improvements over the past few years, it's no wonder why the PGA Tour's Heritage Golf Tournament, held here each spring, is always one of the tour players' favorite events of the year. Competing on the Harbortown Golf Links designed by Pete Dye, tour players bring their families to Sea Pines every year to experience what we enjoy every day. Golf, the beach, nature, relaxing, family, memories made. We feel very fortunate to call Sea Pines home. It's just a great way to live. The Sea Pines Resort offers 2 additional courses. Heron Point, also designed by Pete Dye, and Atlantic Dunes, with recent renovations by Davis Love III. Both courses are served by the award-winning Plantation Golf Club. With 4 championship golf courses in Sea Pines, there's no doubt this is the place to play and live on Hilton Head Island. Arguably one of the most recognized spots in the world of golf is the iconic red and white lighthouse at Harbor Town, where a short climb to the top provides an incredible view of Harbor Town and the surrounding low country.
You can spend an entire day right here at Harbor Town. Kayaking in the Calabogie Sound, shopping, dining, touring the lighthouse, listening to local musicians.
Of course, boating is just a way of life in the low country. There's just so much to explore by water, and Harbor Town is perfectly situated with everything boaters and anglers need to enjoy their time on the water. Walking the basin, seeing the yachts in harbor, listening to local music harborside, relishing a sunset over the Calabogie Sound. It's hard to believe we have all this right in our own backyard. We don't know of another area like this with so much natural beauty to enjoy every day. You can live right on the beach or walk there in less than 10 minutes from practically anywhere in Sea Pines.
It's a different way of life here. We think it's a better way of life.
Since our first visit to the island, we couldn't be happier with the life we've made and all the memories we cherish here at Sea Pines. For us, this will always be home. This is Sea Pines.
So we hope you all enjoyed the first release of Celebrate Sea Pines. That is you know, technical difficulties abound today, so apologies. So again, we're quite proud of that video. It's been a lot of hard work and a lot of time and effort, but we hope you enjoyed it as well. What I'd like to go over with you this morning is the launch plan and how we plan to get it out to the community and to our property owners. So later today, my goal is by 1:30 is to really get this out to you guys via email. Celebrate Sea Pines, so www.celebrateseapines.com will be where this video will be hosted. That launch will happen later this afternoon, like I mentioned. The video will be hosted on our website, so seapinesliving.com will have some prominent links, and it will have an icon where you can click on it, get straight to our YouTube page for the video. It will appear on our homepage as well as our property owner page for easy access for you guys. And our mass email communications campaign will begin this afternoon as well. So you'll start to see the small icon in the top of our emails just so you can click on it and get to it. And you can share it really easily as well. That's one of our goals, is for you to be able to share the video with your friends, share the video with your family members, share the video with people who don't know how awesome we are in Sea Pines and want to learn more about Sea Pines and celebrate Sea Pines with us. Another resource we'll be using is the CSA Facebook page, so you'll see the video appearing there as well. And that's just another way for us to be able to get it out. And we will be working with some of the collaborators that were part of the video, so we can use their resources to be able to communicate the video as well. So how can you help spread the word? Like I mentioned, share the video with your friends, your family members. Michael mentioned your family members that might be in Colorado or Canada or wherever. You know, I want to share this with my family to let them know where I work and where I love and where I appreciate and appreciate Sea Pines so much. So like the video, share the video on your social media pages, on our social media pages as well, and do what you can just to get the word out about the fact that we are celebrating our community, and there's so much to celebrate about Sea Pines. Pines. So we were really excited, and you guys will see an email later this afternoon, like I mentioned, for us to kick that campaign off. So I hope you enjoyed it, and more to come for the video launch itself. So that does adjourn our meeting. We will take a quick 5-minute meeting break, and then we will get back together and start our question and answer session. So,
Real quick, before we start this, Jean, raise your hand back there. Okay, Jean is the lucky person to replace Amanda. Of course, you can't replace Amanda, but to substitute for Amanda while she's out on maternity leave. Temporary, yes. But I wanted everybody to get a picture of Jean back there, so thanks, Jean. Okay, Q&A. Got a microphone?
Thank you, Brad. Two related questions about the election for the CSA board. It was mentioned that each property gets one vote in choosing CSA board members. Does that include, first part of the question, does that include residential properties and commercial properties?
That's for residential properties for residential candidates.
Okay, and the second part then, if a corporation such as the Sea Pines Resort owns residential properties, does it get one vote for each of those?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sue, do we have a microphone?
Yeah, I just have a question about the new community survey. When are we going to get the results of the previous 2 community surveys?
do you specifically mean, are you talking about the referendum survey and the traffic
right.
survey? Okay.
Yeah.
The traffic survey has been posted on our website. It's under our archive page under CSA governance. And I have requested the information from the referendum survey for the final results for CSA from our vendor, and I have yet to get those, so I continue to follow up with them. I have preliminary results, but those were given to us probably 7 to 8 days after the survey opened, so I am continuing to follow up with the vendor to provide us with those results, and once they are, we will publish the referendum results to our website under the same location, Governance CSA Archives. So I expect to have an update here shortly for the community related to the referendum survey results for you, Sue.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's go to the gentleman in the back first.
A question that wasn't covered in the presentation, but I'm curious as to the status of what I thought was the planned beach walk foot wash down in Parcel 1.
David, do you want to address where we are on that?
There was originally some money that was budgeted for this year and reached out to the abutting owners, and there was not a consensus as to where it should be located. As a result, I am proposing, requesting additional dollars over what was budgeted this year for next year with a plan that I think will address all the issues that were previously raised. So it is part of the budget request for 2018.
Thank you, David. I think we had a question up here with Amber.
Rather than a question, it's an addendum. I failed to mention the resort, and after the Celebrate Sea Pines, you guys know that the Sea Pines Resort is a big part of the community, and a lot of you didn't know who I was when I came in here. I just want to remind you that if you do not know anything about sea turtles, just know that every week, every Wednesday night in June, July, and August, we have a sea turtle talk at the Sea Pines Resort Beach Club. Excuse me, and that is due to Rob Bender's efforts. So I just want to say thank you to Rob Bender and also to John, who we neglected to thank for setting up our meeting spaces. So thank you for letting me say that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amber. We had some other questions. Gene, if you want to grab him.
Hi, this is a question for Amanda.
Yes.
If I understood what you just said, we paid for a survey about the referendum that was completed 2 months ago, and the vendor hasn't provided the final results to us?
We received preliminary results in a package, but we did not receive the final
Who is the
package.
vendor that sits on final results for over 2 months? And who did they provide it to?
Well, I won't go into the name of the vendor, but CSA did not pay for it. The resort actually paid for it. It was under our contract, however.
Okay.
Thank you for your question. Other questions? I'm going to have David bring the mic to you, Christopher.
Excuse me for laboring the point,
That's
but
okay.
at the September CSA board meeting, it was promised that the survey would be published within the next week. And the road traffic survey, as you quite rightly said, has been available for over 3 weeks. So I don't understand how, on the one hand, it can be promised that it's forthcoming, and now we're being told that it's actually only in draft form, so to speak, or the results aren't satisfactory. I would have thought by now there's some action you could take with the vendor to bring this all to a head.
Well, we're trying to work through it. I mean, obviously, there are actions we could take with the vendor, but we'd like to get the results from them without doing those actions. In lieu of that, if we don't get them shortly, we're probably going to post the preliminary results that we do have so that those can be out there, but they won't be complete. And obviously, we need the final report to have a complete report posted.
No, that's entirely understandable, and I would understand what you're saying. But the referendum has only been referred to on 2 occasions. One was by Mark in the August coffee community meeting, when he mentioned that of the 1,800 respondents, about 53% had mentioned something positively in favour of the referendum. And then secondly, the resort, when they published their press release, said that the majority of property owners are in favour of the referendum. And there's been no other access to the information, and yet they seem to be drawing upon it positively.
Again, we'll post what we have if we don't get the finals, but we are pursuing the finals, and we'll pursue it amicably at first, at least, and then work through any other issues we might have.
I'm a bit confused by a response that antedates this one a little bit. It had to do with whether or not, if the resort owns a family dwelling unit, it's eligible to vote in the CSA ballot. If you look at the covenants specifically prohibit, in those words, the use of family dwelling units for a business. And if that's the case, how can the resort own and use a family dwelling unit as a business?
They're used, family dwelling units are restricted by the covenants for family use or for residential use, more specifically, not family use, but it's residential use. Any unit that they own can only be used for residential use, and therefore there are a lot of eligible uses that go to residential use, including renting.
Well, there's one, and that is if you're going to renting, it's for more than a year. It's
No,
specifically,
that's not correct. That's not correct.
Brett.
Carl,
Go
it's
back.
not correct.
Brett.
You can rent short-term, as everybody in this room knows,
I didn't
by
say
law.
that. I didn't say that. I said for the resort, not to be considered a business if you're going to use a one-year rental as a criterion.
Well, I'm not using a one-year rental as a criteria. You are. So.
Go back and read the covenants. And
I have. I know it very specifically, and they are
How much money
eligible,
do you
and we
want to
have
put on it?
multiple
How much money do you want
opinions
to
on
put
that.
on it?
$1, yeah.
Other questions? We have one back there, David, if you want to grab it. Thank you. How are you,
Sort
sir?
of 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
One, a long time ago, and I don't know how to define a long time ago, we talked about an electric sign when you came in the Greenwood Gate.
That is correct.
I was wondering what the status of that is, and maybe everybody here knows, but I don't.
That's
What's
okay.
the definition of a pass holder?
Okay, I'll take the first question. So the electric sign, we have been having lots of conversations about the gate and the what will happen in the design related to that. So it was signed actually last week to be put on order and to be installed. So we're looking to get that installed either towards the late December, early January for that sign for us. And it will be in 2 locations. One will be at the Greenwood Gate and one will be at the Ocean Gate. So the schematics that were shown over the summer have been approved by all necessary committees as well as the board. And we will be looking forward to that installation later this year for us. So that takes care of that one. And then you said, what is the definition of a pass holder? Good question. I know the answer, but do you want to take it, Toby?
Sure.
Me? Okay.
I mean, I can certainly address it. It's anybody who has a predetermined right of entry that they can display and/or show at the gate. So if you don't have a pass, quote unquote, or a decal, as we call them, or some other form that you can display either on your windscreen or on your dash, you're in the right lane.
So that's not an owner's entrance anymore?
It is for owners who have passes, yes.
But it
And
used to be
decals.
sort of exclusive for owners.
It's never been exclusive for owners. We just had a sign that said property owners left lane.
Thank you for your questions. We have one back here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could somebody address the special assessment funds, where we are with them, and what are the plans going forward?
Brett will cover this for us.
Currently, year-to-date, we have spent almost $4.7 million on special assessment fund repairs and maintenance. We do still have a couple of additional things, one of which is whatever we will end up doing on boardwalk replacement. That will go towards that. We know we have some soil sedimentation deposits that we're going to have to clear out that are related to damages to facilities. We have a few other things as well that are still being wrapped up. We anticipate some additional tree work that will continue on going into the future related to deeper into the open space recoveries within Sea Pine. So that's the status of what we've spent to date.
Thank you for your question. Other questions? Good morning.
Good morning. This is related somewhat to that area. At a recent meeting in this room, that was said that there were about 160 properties, I believe, that had not paid the assessment, and the only recourse was to limit their ability to call in a visitor's pass. How is that? What's the status of that?
We're down to 100, about 100 properties, and we are in the process of filing liens. So we have additional resources.
Unfortunately, that
correct it.
continues to cost us all money to file those liens. Thank you.
Any other questions? One back here. David, if you would grab him.
I don't know if the person that can answer this is even here, so if not, it can pass. But in one of the Facebook websites, Sea Pines Homeowners or Sea Pines Neighbors or whatever, I think it was Charlie Miner posted a notice the other day that he felt like, or it was the belief that the resort could continue with the hotel even without a referendum. And I was wondering could we get some clarification on the logic behind that? And if I don't know, I didn't see if Charlie was even over there, so I don't know.
Charlie's here. Do you want to address it, Charlie?
That'll teach you to post things on Facebook.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. If you read the announcement when the resort withdrew its request for a referendum, they said they were exploring other forms of accommodations in the area. They own either 62 or 63 what are called density units. A density unit permits the owner to build a residential building, condominium. Whether or not they use that or not, they have not been clear on that yet. We knew that when we went into the discussions because it was always on the table. They have not announced what they're going to do. They're still in review, so we don't know the answer to that. So it's an open question. It's also an open question as to whether or not that would be a valid use of those units. So I regret that that was on the website. It's come up before. And again, I think it's unfinished business. It's something we're going to have to deal with as we go forward. I am hopeful that the resort will come back with a referendum, but at this point in time, there's no indication that they will do that.
Thank you, Charlie. Any other questions before we adjourn the meeting? All right, well, we appreciate you coming out this morning. Again, there is an ASPO special board meeting in this room today at 1 p.m. to discuss the OCRM jurisdictional setback lines. If you're available, please plan to attend. And we appreciate you coming out. Thank you.